Now let's talk about steals of the draft. I think that everyone wants to get a Giannis. Everyone wants to get of course, Nikola Jokic, who was in the second round. Of course, a Draymond Green. And the draft is not a science. I will say that. The draft is not a science. You're not the number one pick doesn't always turn out to be their best player. Obviously, I mean, when you look at, I think Giannis was drafted in 2013 or something like that. He obviously wasn't the number one overall pick, and you see what he turned out to be. Kawhi Leonard was not the number one overall pick. You see what he turned out to be. Steph Curry was not the number one overall pick. You see what it turned out to be. The draft is not an always science, and there's always going to be steals. There's always going to be players that can emerge and be the best player in the draft. Then doesn't ultimately have to be number one. You can get him in the second round. It's just, who are the players that you look and say, that could be something interesting. And I'll give three names. Number one, I'm going to obviously go with where's he at? Obviously go with Cam Whitmore from Villanova. Cam Whitmore, he was projected to be a fourth or fifth pick. That's how good he was coming out of Villanova. I understand that he had, I guess, a medical situation, and that is what ultimately dropped him to 20th. But it kind of feels like the same thing that happened with Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. was a top tier talent. Michael Porter Jr. going into college was projected to be a number one overall pick. That's the type of talent that he garnishes, or that he has, let me say. But of course, due to injuries in Missouri, he fell in Denver's lap. And now you see how integral he was to their championship run this year. I'm not going to say that Cam Whitmore is going to be the key cog to a championship run for Houston, but I will say that Houston got a top five draft pick pretty much at 20, because they're saying it's because of medical history, or medical thing is kind of scary for teams. But Cam Whitmore out of Villanova, 6'5", he is an incredible shooter, incredibly offensive, gifted player, and he's from the crib. That to me can be a possible steal of the draft. If we talk about players, right, and we talk about anyone out of the top or lottery, if there's a player that could win Rookie of the Year or be in contention to Rookie of the Year that's out of the lottery, I would say Cam Whitmore, because he is a lottery talent, and he was projected to go top 10 at least. And you get him at 20. So, yeah, that's my number one pick, or my number one sleeper would probably be Cam Whitmore, seeing as where he fell. Actually, I have a couple of sleepers. Another one would be 14 at Jordan Hawkins. Jordan Hawkins possibly is the best shooter outside of probably Grady Dick. Possibly the best shooter in the draft, and mature. He just won a national championship with UConn as their starting guard. Jordan, he is also from the crib. Have to show love. And you playing alongside or playing behind CJ McCollum is perfect for the Orlando or New Orleans Pelicans. I'm sorry. That's just a team that's in desperate need of shooting, because right now, outside of what Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, they don't have a legit shooter on the team that they can depend on. They have people that can hit a shot, but they don't have a dependable shooter. And getting Jordan Hawkins, to me, fills that hole beautifully. And playing alongside of CJ McCollum, and we know about the maturity, and you're already getting a mature player in Jordan Hawkins. It's just perfect. So I have that, and I also I have Cam Whitmore, I have Jordan Hawkins, and I have Derek Lively II. Dallas, Dallas is Derek Lively. I mean, oh, you heard last night about the story of him growing up and coming up in basketball, and him and his moms, and just the hard road that it took to get to the get to Duke, get to the draft. When we talk about a young player that can really make a dent round or day one, I'm not saying that Derek Lively is going to make Dallas a championship contender. What I will say is he gives me incredible shades of JaVale McGee. And a lot of people look at JaVale McGee and only think of course, the Washington Wizards, JaVale McGee. But when I say JaVale McGee, I think about just the pure athleticism and height. I mean, Derek Lively is 7'1", and he's able to jump out the gym. He also has a jump shot. I just think he is going to do dividends, and he is going to be incredible and an incredible steal, especially at 12 for Dallas. I mean, I know Oklahoma City drafted him, and of course he got traded to Dallas, but that's a big pick, and that's somebody that I think if he was, which I don't think he would have been, of course, but if he was still available at 19, he would be perfect fit for Golden State. So getting for Dallas, now you're going to play alongside Luka Doncic, and that's nothing. Derek Lively with his defense and his lob catching ability, he does not need the ball to make an impact. So I think that's a steal right there. And I guess my last steal, and the last thing I'm going to talk about before we move on from the draft, is Imani Bates at 49. To me, this is the reason why I have Imani Bates as a steal is because before all the off the court incidences, before the injuries, before not really working out in Memphis and then going to Eastern Michigan, Imani Bates was projected to be kind of like a Michael Porter Jr. again. He was projected to be a number 1 overall pick. Going into this year's or last year's, let's say, college season in Memphis, he was projected to be a one and done. Go to Memphis under Penny Hardaway's tutelage, and go on and be a number 1 overall pick. He had the skill set. He had the talent. I mean, we saw him at Rico Hines runs. We saw him practicing and playing alongside actual NBA players. And again, whatever happened in Memphis, it didn't work out. And then we know about the off the court issues. And now, being in Eastern Michigan, a number 1 overall talent dropped to 49 in the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm interested to see what he looks like. Now, yes, defense-wise, not that good. I mean, he's only 190 pounds and 6'9", so he definitely needs to bulk up. But I'm interested to see what he looks like next to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, as well as Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I think that if you're able to tap into the potential that is Imani Bates and tap into that number 1 overall pick potential, then you have the steal of the draft because you have a number 1 overall pick potential. You got him at 49. Now, again, I don't know because I do want to see what he looks like in an NBA system. I do want to see what he looks like going up against and having to deal with. I mean, he's a forward. So having to deal, even though it says guard, he's 6'9", he's a forward. Having to deal with, having to play a Paul George or a Kawhi Leonard one night, having to play Klay Thompson or Draymond Green the next, or Andrew Wiggins. I'm interested to see what that looks like. But if you're able to tap into that potential, you could have the ultimate steal of the draft. So, again, man, I want to congratulate everyone that did get drafted. And everyone that didn't get drafted, that's going to find their way onto a team, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the G League, whether it's overseas. if you're good enough to play, congratulations. Just being drafted doesn't make you or break you. And again, not being drafted doesn't either, because I mean, I just gave examples. Gabe Vincent, Fred VanVleet. Just because you weren't drafted doesn't mean that you can't make an impact. We saw how important Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and Duncan Robinson was to the Miami Heat in their ultimate NBA Finals run this year. And again, Fred VanVleet and how important he was to the ultimate Toronto title run. Now, I understand Kawhi Leonard was there, but Fred VanVleet hit really big shots in the playoffs. So congratulations to everyone that did get drafted, didn't get drafted, got on or will go undrafted or and sign two-way contracts or go to the G League, go overseas. If you're going to continue to advance your career in basketball, congratulations to you. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.